Hey guys, hey. How is everyone doing tonight? Welcome. Welcome everybody to the live.
Can you imagine how long I've waited to try this today? Oh yeah, so excited to try this today. Oh, I cannot wait.
Welcome, I see one person. Hey, Christine's World. How are you? If you guys haven't seen the video that Silas did on the sauce, go check it out.
Is the day. So today I'm gonna try Dr. Jason's barbecue. Yes, to try this sauce today.
How are you doing tonight, Christine? I'm doing well. Just trying to, go live, get these hours in and engage with, you guys.
To try this today. Oh, I cannot wait. It doesn't matter how long I wait.
I'm just waiting on a few more people to come in, and then we'll talk about the topic.
A great sauce. So today is the day. So today I am gonna try Dr. Jason's barbecue. Yes, today.
So yeah, welcome. Mm-hmm. Hey, mukbanging things, how are you? How are you doing tonight, mukbang? Welcome. Happy Saturday to you. That was a great premiere tonight. I need a plate. Hey, Ashley's Couch, how are you? Welcome. So as you see from the title, let me see, because I don't remember the title yet. So it says, what are your thoughts on listening before giving your opinion? Now, a lot of times on these YouTube streets, when there's different topics, people think it's about somebody, or people think it's about a situation that you're going through. But, I typically choose the topics based on, things that we go through. I always speak our relationship topics. So tonight I was like, let's change it up because, I feel like a lot of times, hey, Coco, tell them, how are you? I feel like a lot of times we as people, we're so quick to come to an assumption before we even listen to what is going on. So welcome. Mukman says, I always say the shoes fit. That's true, Mukman. That's true. But yeah. So, I think I'm guilty of that too. A lot of times, we will see certain situations and we'll have an opinion about it. We'll see things and we don't know the full story because there's always two sides to every story. And sometimes, we make bad judgment and we're like, all right, we're quick to say what we think about something without even listening to the situation. So I just want to know what's you guys' thought. on, listening before giving your opinion. Hey, Eat Spicy with Tea. What's going on? Welcome, 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 everyone. Hey, Mama Dell. Welcome. Welcome to everyone. We're staying on for 2 hours tonight, and Jill is not coming on, so, we won't hold you all night. Hey, Bomdia, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing tonight? So as you can all see from the title, it says, what's your thought on listening before giving your opinions? And, listening is very important. I think we all should listen more than we speak. But, in this time and age, a lot of us speak more than how we listen. So, yeah. Awesome, Bomdia. I saw you went live a few times this week, and I tried to come over there. By the time, there's no open one. By the time I come over there, you were already gone. So welcome, everyone. If you want to join the conversation, I'm going to drop the link. Anybody who wants to come up. Tech issues, okay. All right, so we see Christine's World said, I rather listen before giving my opinion, but I'm bullheaded sometimes. And I feel that Christine's World, sometimes it's hard for us to, listen sometimes, especially when we think strongly of what we think. Coco Tellin says, well, sometimes I don't listen. I be ready to speak before. And I think a lot of us are guilty of that, Coco. I don't think that's just you. I think sometimes, certain situations happen and we get very heated that we don't even think to acknowledge or listen to the full story of what this person has to say. So, we're so quick to give our opinions because we feel strongly about it. Bomdia says, yes, I've learned to wait and listen before giving my opinion. And yeah, that's very important, but sometimes it's really hard for us to really jerk. Sometimes it's really hard for us to, listen before we speak. Ashley's College says, listening is important when having any conversation. You cannot effectively communicate without listening. Also, if you say something, you can't take it back. Don't be quick to respond. And actually, I feel everything in that. I feel everything in that. But it goes back to, sometimes we feel so strongly in certain situations, or the situations may be too big for us that, sometimes we don't even have the time to listen because this person going to come with some BS, but you're like, I ain't going to listen to it. But yeah, I do feel that. Mama Dell said, I like to listen before giving my opinion. And Mama Dell, sometimes that is what we all should do and try to work on doing that. But I think sometimes we look in on the outside in and we see a certain situation, or maybe, sometimes we as people, we have a special connection with a certain person. And we're like, now I know this person ain't going to do that. So you already gave them the benefit of the doubt. But you never think to yourself to say, oh, wow, this person may have that in their mind or in their intention or their ability. So, I feel that though. Mukbanging Thing says, that's one thing I say. I try to be a good listener. Sometimes you can tell a whole thing and the person not even listening, didn't even hear you talking. And that's true. There's some people who are, they have selective hearing. They hear what they want to hear. So, yeah. Hey, Keely, welcome, welcome, welcome. And then Bomdia said, yes, sometimes it's so hard. And that is true. Listening can be very hard for us because, at the same time, I want to listen to what you have to say. But sometimes, we're so triggered by something because some people don't even know how to have a conversation. They'll say something that'll trigger you off that you don't have time to even listen because it's going to go down in the wrong direction. T says, I think I listen, but hubby says T, you know what? T, that is totally different though, That's on a relationship standpoint. So, I feel that there's gonna be those situations where you think you're a good listener, but the other person will be like, you ain't a good listener. Um he said I'm always listening to talk rather than listen to understand. And that is true. That is true. Um T said maybe we just chat too much. T, I ain't play with you. And then Mukbang Thing says not fully listening and jumping to give an opinion. And that is true, Mukbang. Sometimes, we sometimes it's hard for you to hear these things from someone when you know that sometimes they're gonna say something, but they're gonna say something stupid. So I feel like listening before giving your opinion, sometimes it all depends on the situation or the person in which you are having this conversation with. Because some people, they ain't gonna listen to nothing you have to say. They're just gonna be like, you know what, this is my thoughts, and you can hold my thoughts, or you don't have to listen, and we can done the conversation. So I feel you on that. It all depends on the situation, the person on hand, and all those things. So welcome everyone. I know, you could be anywhere and you chose to be here. So thank you all for being here. So yeah, it is very, we all acknowledge that it's very important for us to listen before we speak, or listen before we give an opinion. T says, I brought that up because I know that I feel strongly about the things I say in general. So it's not even within a relationship or people be having a point. Yeah. I feel that, T. All right, says I brought it up because I know I feel strongly about things I say in general. And that is true. Sometimes it becomes hard for us to listen because certain things that are being said or stuff like that, you feel strongly about those opinions. And, if you have someone else who has an opposing opinion, then sometimes it's going to be hard for us to even understand where they're coming from. So you're being for real. And, I also think it is also important for us as people to evaluate ourselves regularly, because someone gonna say to you, you're not a good listener. You're just quick to jump to assumptions. Then sometimes we as people have to look into ourselves and be like, am I that way? Self-evaluation. Hey, Veggie Pals, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. The topic tonight is, what's your thought on listening before giving your opinion? T says, so my mind is made up and you're talking, but I'm just listening to prove. And T, that is something I feel like a lot of us struggle with. The mind is made up, someone is pleading their case and all of those stuff, but you already made your mind up, you already have your opinion on it, and you're like, you know what, no matter what you say, they ain't gonna change my opinions. So I do feel that. She said, understanding is hard, especially when we are on opposite sides. And that is so true. You never said that any better, because I think that's the most important part. Opposite sides, So yeah, it's kind of hard to have a conversation in that way. So, yep. But yeah, it's definitely hard. But it all goes back. It even can go back to, like, ever since we've been growing up as kids, your parents and your older folks always tell you, listen is important. Like even growing up in Jamaica, where when like someone telling you something, they're correcting you, and you're so quick to be like, you know what, you'll get a whooping for that because they're like, you need to listen. Audience must feel. All right, so T says, anyways, it never fails. I always understand and still agree. Still disagree. Give me 1 second. Ahora, silly in the building. What's up, sillies? But T, I do understand that. It's like, you understand their point of view, but you still don't agree with what they're saying. So I do feel that. Hey, do tell, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so Keely says, I'm a great listener, so I want to get the whole story before giving my opinion. And most time, I will only give my opinion if the person asks for it. Me personally, I feel like I'm a great listener, but sometimes it all depends on what you're listening to or who you're listening it from. Because, let's say you and someone have a disagreement, right? You have different variations of opinions, and it becomes to the point where you have this opinion and the person has the opposing opinion. They say something that triggers what you deeply believe in. Would you still give it that time of the day to be a great listener? We're not talking about a friend who is going through a troubling time or have a situation going on and they come to you and they're speaking to you and you're listening before you give your opinion. Let's say you guys are debating on a topic and you guys have different opinion. Do you take the time to listen to their point of view, or they may say something that triggers you and you're like, All right, so T says, what do you think about that, though, when a person understands and still disagree? Now, T, I do feel that because it's like, I understand where you're coming from. Do I agree with where you're coming from? No. So it is a natural part of life for us to understand but still disagree because, understanding and agreement are two different things. You understand something. Do you agree with it? No. So you can understand someone's situation or the roads that they've traveled to get to where they need to be. But do you agree with it? No. So I do understand understanding some a person's opinion or anything like that. But agreeing is two different things. She said, do you believe that people can understand and still disagree? And yes, I do believe that you can understand and still disagree because, I can understand. I'm repeating myself. I can understand the situation, but do I agree with the situation? No. So, yeah, I do believe that. Hey, Miss Beverly. All right. Ashley says, yeah, you can't give your opinion unless the person asks for it. Sometimes people just want to vent, not get advice. And that is true. You have to know who you're dealing with, what type of person you're dealing with, how would they react to certain things. I think me as a person and how I grew up, I can like now that I've moved to America and live in a different culture, I do understand the difference between just listening and don't have an opinion. But growing up in Jamaica, I was so set into my ways where, if you say something to me, I think I need to have an opinion about it. But I'm learning to, have a balance. All right, Mukbang and Things says, people do get mad at times when you don't agree with them, though. That I'll never get. And, that is true, Mukbang. It's very crazy how, we as people, obviously, we weren't made the same way. We weren't made with the same thought process. We didn't grow up the same way. So obviously, we all gonna have different point of views. And we all just got to learn how to do those different point of views without putting our feelings into it, because sometimes I feel like the feelings is what separate us from really understanding where this person is coming from. So yeah, it is definitely crazy how, yeah, I would never get that too, because I feel like when I'm in a situation where me and someone has difference of opinions, and I realize that I'm trying to show you where I'm coming from, and I try to have a breakthrough, and I realize the breakthrough is not happening. You know what I do? I move on from the conversation, because I realize that this breakthrough is not happening, or it's not even me trying to push my opinions on you, but sometimes I feel like it's also important for us to kind of give someone a form of understanding of where they're coming from, versus, just saying, all right, this person said this that triggered me, Hey, Williella Franklin, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. VeggiePal says, I'll never get that either, D. Yeah, it is very one of those things where I'll never get either. But that's just life. So Silas is what? 2 almost 3 a.m. there. You still up in the building? Hey Zion, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so Ashley says some people wants to get validation on how they feel. If you feel differently, they become offended. Those type of people don't want better. They want a reason to settle. And Ashley, you touch on a lot of different things. Some people want to get validated on how they feel. And that's the difference between me. There's a lot of things that will phase me as it relates to listen to some music, or being overwhelmed or happy about certain situations that are happening in my life, and I'll probably cry. But you know what? If someone says something about me or they have difference of opinion, you never gonna see me sweat it or cry. But you are right about that. Some people, they'll even go to the depths of crying because someone didn't agree with their stance on something. And I feel like you can only do so much to try to let someone understand where you're coming from or the journey you have walked. Sometimes it's not even for you to try to get them to understand, but at the same time, sometimes it's very important for someone to understand where you're coming from. All right, T says, you can tell when people are butthurt about how you feel. Oh, Lord. You can tell when people are butthurt about how you feel. I never understand that. And then some people will get offensive, and that's a hell no in my... Hey, baby, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I do feel that T, you can always, always tell when someone is offended. Their whole mood is gonna change, their tone is gonna change, their whole, everything is gonna change. All right. Williella says, if it anger, let it slide though. She not murder though. She not lie. Hey Julie, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to everyone in the chat. The topic tonight is, what's your thoughts on listening before giving your opinions? So what do you think about listening before giving your opinion? Or in other words, Do you think listening is more important than talking? And as I said before, I think, it's very important for us to listen, but at the same time, sometimes it's so hard for us to listen when, someone comes out of their mouth and says something stupid. So it all depends. All right, so Willie Ellis says it depends on the topic. So Willie Ellis, let's throw the topic in the chat of something that you can listen to the person before giving your opinion versus something that you can never listen to first before giving your opinion. And I hope everyone has thumbs the live up for me. All right, so Bambi made a valid point. Bambi said, listen to understand, not to respond. No, Bambi. I know a lot of people in this chat are very outspoken, including myself and you and a lot of other people in here. Do you think it is easy for us to listen to understand and not to respond? Now, I can tell you that sometimes I can listen to understand, but sometimes I can listen and I have to have a response about it. So, hey, Kai Smith, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Silas said, well, at this point, I have to become a listener. Silas, you know what? I ain't playing. So Bambi said, no, I didn't say I do it. No, Bambi, I know, because it is very hard for us to listen to understand, not listen to respond. Because, sometimes people will really come for you. People will really try you, and that you can't even listen anymore. You gotta listen and respond, But at the same time, we always talk about this, and it's not everything that deserves a response. So I feel that. Ashley said, honestly, it's hard to listen and understand, not respond, especially the conversation is heated. And Ashley, that is so, so true. It's like, that's what I said. Some people have a great tendency or the ability to get under your skin where you and them are having a conversation and, you're trying to have them to have a listening ear. And at the same time, it's like there's no listening ear right there because they feel so strongly about it. So I feel that. Bambi says she's learning. I'm learning too, Bambi. I'm learning. Willie Ellis says, I'm quiet for a reason. But, sometimes because I feel like, especially in the time and age that we are in, it's like if you're quiet, then a lot of times people think you're in agreement to what is going on. So, sometimes quiet is not the answer. Argument is never the answer either, but being quiet sometimes can be detrimental. All right, Silas said, no, Adrian, I will listen. Okay, Silas, I think all of us have the ability to listen, but at some point in time, then the ability to listen just falls off, depending on the person. Ashley says, if we're having a heated conversation, naturally, I'm going to just want to put you in your place, but I've been working on that. And I feel like, a lot of us as people, we struggle with that because, we have feelings, we have instincts to figure out if people are really, quote unquote, coming for you. Willie Ellis says, true, we all have our faults, and that is true. Bambi said, hashtag Bibles and box cutters. And Bambi, I know that's your hashtag. Silly say, yes, I understand, Adrian. It's not easy. Okay, T, thank you. You'll be in and out of the bushes. Make sure you bring some food when you come back out the bush, okay? So Yeah, it sometimes it's really hard though. All right. Whew. Hey, the food done, Wagwan. The food done. All right, so for all those who are just coming in, the topic is, what's your thought on listening before giving your opinions? All right, let's throw this one out there. Let's say you have, hey, Aeon, welcome. Jerk chicken. I haven't made jerk chicken. I'm gonna make jerk chicken on Monday though for a video. Okay, Keely, thank you so much. All right, let's say you have two friends. One you have known for 10 years, and the other one you know them for 10 months. So that's the difference. 10 years, 10 months. You brought these two friends around each other. They had a disagreement. Would you necessarily have a listening ear before giving your opinion in that situation? All right, so you have two friends, one of 10 years, one of 10 months. All right, you brought both of them together, both of them had a disagreement. Would you listen to both sides of the story before giving your opinion? Now, I think, me personally, I think I would have already made up in my mind that my friend that I have for 10 years, I'll be like, I know them for 10 years. I know what they will do and don't do. But at the same time, I would still give a listening ear to the friend of 10 months because I still want to know, what was the situation, and then I make a valid opinion. But then I would still argue the point with the friend of 10 months, be like, I know this person wouldn't do this. So what did you really say to trigger that person? So what's you guys' thought on that? Okay, the food done. Everybody in here is genuine. So if you see someone in here that you want to connect with, just write their names down. And after you get out of the live stream, you can go over there, watch a short video, leave a comment, and hit the red button. All right, so Ashley said, I would stay out of it if possible. They are adults and should be able to handle things amongst themselves. However, if they want to vent, I'm here, and I would be open-minded and not take sides. All right, I'm going to read Christine's comment, and then I'm going to kind of dissect a little bit. Christine said, I will listen to both sides of the stories so I can help them understand each other's story. Zion says, both sides of the story. There is always three sides of the story, the side and the truth. Okay, their side and the truth. All right, so based on what Ashley says, she said, I would stay out of it if possible. They're adults and should be able to handle things amongst themselves. However, if they want to vent, I'm here, and I would be open-minded not to take sides. Now, I feel where you're coming from, Ashley, but I think our natural instincts in us would be like, I know this person for 10 years. They have never done something like this to me. I know their character. They're like family to me. We have developed this friendship. And, because first of all, I think the friend of 10 years is probably going to come to me and be like, why did you bring this person around? Or the person of 10 months is going to be like, why do you bring me into this foolishness? So I feel like you're always going to be particularly in the middle of the situation. So I feel like it would be definitely hard for me to give an unbiased opinion. I would give a listening ear, but I feel like I know that friend of 10 years much longer. I know what they would do and what they wouldn't do. So I think for me personally, I would kind of, be like, why did you do it? But I feel that. Christine said, I'll listen to both sides of the story so I can help them understand each other's stories. And that is true, Christine. I think that's a great approach, to listen to both sides, let them find out how to understand each other better. And then Zion says, both sides of the story, there's always three sides: their story and the truth. And that is true, Zion. It's very important for us to, do all of that stuff. All right, food done. Say, I want to be a part of everyone. I want everyone to be a part of my family. Well, the food done. All you gotta do is do it the right way. Thank you, mukbang and things. Okay, Willie Ella. All right, so Aeon says, hugs to my sisters, mamas, daddies, brothers, side people. Aeon, you know what? I'm done. Asher says, everyone's perception on things is different. So if they want to continue a friendship, they have to be able to communicate with each other. That's what will strengthen their relationship. And I totally agree with you, Ashley. I totally agree. And then the food done says, yes, I agree with you, Ashley. And then Ashley also says, if I get involved, then it will be a war between who is right and wrong. And that's not how it should be. And that is true. But how would you handle the situation? How would you navigate between telling them, this is between both of you? Because I feel like the friend of 10 years and the friend of 10 months are going to hold you accountable for the interaction, because they're going to be like, the type of friend that you have. So why do you bring us all together? So, that's the hard part about it. Hey, Coach Sherry, welcome, welcome, welcome. Mukbang and Things says, I can't have friends that I can't be truthful with and who can't be truthful with me. That's not what friendship is about. And I totally agree with you, Mukbang and Things. I totally agree. We all have to be able to be honest with each other without the other person getting offended about stuff. All right. Zion says, I've had a so-called friend for 13 years, and that person did me dirty. So it's not how long you know the person, but who is telling the truth. And I totally agree with you, Zion. Sometimes it's not about how long you know the person. It's about how much you know about the person. Because sometimes, you'll know someone for 10 months, so you know a lot more about them than someone you've known for 10 years. So I feel that. Thank you, Mukbang. So I know Coach Sherry, welcome, welcome. I know you always have some great, thoughts on certain things. All right, Mukbang says, we get caught up in time. I can meet someone today that changes and impact my life in a great way. And that is so true on Mukbang and Things. It's very important for us not to look at time versus the connection that we have developed with each other. So Food Done says, I agree, Zion. That's my son's name, Zion. And that is true. That is true. Mukbang. So, Coach Sherry, the topic is, what's your thought on listening before giving your opinion? And then we also had a B-part question of, if you had a friend of 10 years versus 10 months, and they had a disagreement, would you kind of lean towards the friend of 10 years? You would give a listening ear, but would you lean to the friend of 10 years versus a friend of 10 months because you know them longer? Bambi said, and all facts upon facts. All right, so Ashley says, sometimes we hold on to friendships not for quality. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Wow. That one is, let me get some water for this. I'm just playing. Um, Ashley, you said that so well. You know, it's like, it's funny how yeah, definitely. She said, but because of the time they have been or friends. So you can meet someone and instantly feel a connection with them stronger than your long time. Now, Ashley, you are saying some really, really important things here. Hey, Dara, Mr. D Cotton, because I don't want to mess up your first name, or is that K Cotton? I totally agree with you, but I'm going to come to another question based on that because I feel like sometimes, hey, Laura, welcome. I feel like sometimes that can also be the demise in a friendship because someone gonna think a different way. So I'm gonna touch on that for a little bit after I'm finished. And Bambi said, I lean with moral compass. What's right, not who is right. And that is true, Bam. Coach Cherry says, I wouldn't lean one way or the other because the situation is here and now. And that is true, Coach Cherry. Mukbang says, we have history, that's true, but that doesn't mean 10 years is more credible than 10 months. That is true. No, Willela, I'm just drinking water. Mukbang says, I had to let go of some of that. I had to let go of some of that. We're just holding on, but we had history. We had long outgrew each other, Ash. Yep. Oh, it's D Cotton. Okay, welcome, Mr. Cotton. Coach Sherry says, definitely listen more, and I'm very, very mindful if and when I give personal advice. Hey, InQ's World, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's go back to Ashley's comment when she says, sometimes we hold on to friendship not for quality, but because of the time they have been or friends. Now, Ashley, Christine, Eat, Cook, and Live It Up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, this is gonna be funny. All right. So I feel you on that, Ashley, and I totally agree. But if you were, let's put ourselves into this now. If you were a friend of 10 years, right? And you were the friend of 10 years, your friend had a friend of 10 months, right? And they kind of made that statement that it's not how long we know each other. How would you feel? Now, I feel like if I had a friend, if I was the friend of someone for 10 years and they had a friend of 10 months and they weren't able to kind of, in a sense, says firmly that I know Adrian wouldn't do that, then I wouldn't think that this person really, in a sense, knows me or they had my back. So if you were the friend of 10 years and your friend had a friend of 10 months and they didn't even at least say, I know Adrian wouldn't do that, or I know Ashley wouldn't do that, or I know this person wouldn't do that, how would you feel? All right, so Bambi says, my friends know me, so they wouldn't even question my judgment. And that is true, Bambi. The food done? Where do you think I'm from? The food done. Welcome, everyone. I hope you all hit the thumbs up for me, please. All right. So Ash says, honestly, I would get that because I've had a friendship with someone that was based on time and time only. If you know my character, then yes, acknowledge that. But knowing me doesn't make me right or worthy. And I think you just said that in the best way possible, Ash. You know, knowing someone's character versus knowing them for a long time is two different things. So you are right. Yeah, I'm Jamaican food done. So yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. But I think, you know, especially the time that we're living in, a lot of people, because of the time their friendship has been, or let's even jump into, let's say, a relationship. Someone who's been with someone for 20 years, they would expect that person to have their back regardless of what the situation is, or even swear for them and says, I know this person wouldn't do that. So I do feel you on that though. It's about, you know, knowing the person's character instead of how long you know the person. All right, so Coach Sherry says, hopefully you won't be pulled into a situation between two when you have nothing to do with the situation. And I feel that Coach Sherry, hopefully we as people wouldn't be pulled into that, but according to how life goes and all of those things, I feel like it's just inevitable for us to be pulled into those situations because people, I feel like a lot of times, always want to be validated about something. They want to know that someone has their backs because quite often you'll hear people say, you know, I was in a situation, this person didn't have my back, but the situation didn't really necessarily affected you. Well, I wouldn't say affected, but it had nothing to do with you. And if you put your opinions in there, then you would be caught in the middle. But at the same time, this person gonna be like, this person didn't have my back because they were supposed to stand up for me. They know who I am. We've been friends for 10 years, or we've been in a relationship for X amount of time. So I feel that. All right, so yeah, big up yourself, food done. Animal Lover says, I've been married for 18 years and my husband has only had my back for the last 4 years. Puts a strain on the relationship for sure. And I totally understand that, Laura, because it's like, you know, people typically equate time to knowing somebody. Like quite often you hear people say, you've only known this person for a day. How do you know they're this way? Because especially now people are being hurt daily and people start putting up these walls that, you know, they may see the world's best person with the best heart come in front of them today. They'd be like, I only known you for a day. I know this person for 10 years. So I'm going to put my trust into that person. So I do feel that. Coach Sherry says, in those situations, you just listen. Yeah, that could be very difficult. Thank you, Zion. I appreciate it. Asher says, you also have to set boundaries with your friends so that they know that you are not with the middleman stuff and you expect them to work things out. If they are friends, they will respect that. I do feel that Ashley, but I think we as people though, even though we respect it, we also need a little bit of what I would say a little bit of quote unquote security. Like, you know, be like, all right, I know this person gotta, because quite often you hear people say I have my ride and die friends. Like I've known this person for 20, 30 years. These are my ride and die friends. So at the same time, even though we're saying that it shouldn't equate to time, a lot of people equate friendship to time and not necessarily values. Anthony said, wow, that's deep, but very honest. Yeah, that is true. Mukbang. All right, Bambi says, another thing though, 10 years, some type of growth should have happened. And that is true, Bambi. You know, you all should understand each other and realize, as Asher said, the boundaries that you all have set in the friendship. So that is true. That is true. And sometimes I feel like, sometimes we as people, we kind of have to take ourselves out of our heads and just realize that even though someone doesn't say something verbally about a situation, that doesn't mean that they don't have your back. Because I think a lot of times people equate someone saying something to having your back versus not saying something they don't have your back. Because I see a lot of times people will have your back, but they just don't want to be involved in a certain situation because that may be damaging to what they have or the standards that they have. All right, so Mukbang says, me and my best friend have been friends since age 14. She calls me on my stuff with love, and I do the same. We rarely have disagreement, and we never argue. She's my ride and die 30 years. And, I think that is very important, Mukbang, because I feel like a lot of times, and you have found a really ride or die friend, because I feel like a lot of times we as people, we are so easy to call people out on stuff, but we cannot receive it. So that is awesome that you found a friend who will be able to call you out on something, and you will be able to call them out on something, and they receive it and you receive it. So that is very important. But Mukbang said, but if she's wrong, she's wrong. And I totally agree with that too. I can't deal with the situations where people just back you up based on friendships, based on they love you, based on certain things like that. If you are in the wrong, you should be wrong, and they shouldn't be mad that you said they were wrong. Because I feel like a lot of times, sometimes people will get offended if you call them out on their, well, we're going to touch on another point after I get through a few of these comments. All right, so Coach Sherry says, I just hear my husband's voice in my head saying, don't get involved with that, Beth. Sometimes getting involved in other affairs trickles into your own life. That's why those situations, I say less. And that is true, Coach Sherry, because these things can affect you in the long run. So sometimes we have to really evaluate, is this even worth a response or get it involved in it? Dutel says, in my years of living, I've learned not to vouch for anyone. Time change just like people do. Now, Dutel, you just hit the nail on the head. You can never vouch for anyone. I mean, wow. Yeah, that is very, 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 very true. Because I think the only person you can vouch for is yourself. You can only know what you would do. You could know someone like the back of your hand. But at the same time, it's not, you don't want to put yourself out there like that. And then Ashley said, yeah, I can understand that. Mukbang said, yeah, she always has my back and I have hers, but I don't do foolishness even for 30-year friendship. Mama does, yeah, that's all that my husband. Okay, in Q's world, drive safely out there. Coach Church said, right, Mukbang, I have those type of in my life. Ash says, right, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I can respect a person who keeps it real. Laura says, that's why I don't have many friends. People can't handle my honesty. And, that is also a great thing, Laura, because it's like, if you know that people typically cannot handle your honesty, then sometimes we as the person, we have to be like, you know what, maybe I should stay by myself, or maybe I should have very limited friends, or maybe I should choose my friend wisely, because I feel like you're doing yourself more harm being friends with people who cannot understand your honesty. So that is true. Christine's world said 10 years. People change after 10 years, and that was your best friend or fam could change within that time frame. You can't give the person a pass on accepting their opinions just because of your friendship. And that is true. All right, there was a comment here. All right. So, let's touch on this point now. So, if you had, like Mukbang says, she have a friend of 30 years, she's able to call her out on her BS. She's able to call Mook out on her BS. If wow. So if this friend publicly, if they were wrong in a public setting, and how would you handle that situation? Being that you are honest enough to tell them that they're wrong. Do you handle the situation publicly because it's a public situation, or do you handle the situation privately even though it's a public situation? Now, I feel like if something happens in the public eye and you were wrong for it, oh Lord, this one is tough now because I don't know if y'all gonna judge me. But I feel like if someone, but at the same time, and I'm just saying, if this situation happened publicly and you are wrong publicly, then I feel like we should address it publicly, because I feel like at the same time, even though you want to be able to have that trust with your friend to know that you kind of have their back, but at the same time you're going to call them out on their BS. I feel like you not saying anything on a public situation where it happens publicly, I feel like the public going to have you as the type of person who agrees with the person even though you didn't agree, but you address it privately. All right, so Eat, Cook, and Live It Up says it depends on how you say it, and that is true. Coach Sherry said friends are in different categories, but just because you've known them for decades doesn't make them right either. Now, a lot of you all probably know me because I say it a lot. If I know who I am and someone judge me based on what they think I am, I don't care about it, because deep down I know who I am. So I can understand someone who would address something that happened publicly in the private. But at the same time, you know, when you're on certain platforms or certain levels where you're going to get scrutiny and then you're also going to be ended up in the drama, I feel like sometimes you have to really make the public know your stance on this situation. So Mukbang said, "Oh, Adrian, this is good. I've been in this situation." Mukbang said, "I will get you together privately. It's just my way." And I received that, and I totally agree with you, Mukbang. I totally agree with you. Why Coach Cherry said, why address them in public? And you know, if it's, I feel like, let's say now we're in this chat, right? And I did something incorrect in the chat. And, you know, there's a lot of people in here which I have a great relationship with, almost everybody in here. And for the people who know me well, who knows that, you know, I ain't going to necessarily be offended about certain things. Because I feel like if I'm wrong and I did something wrong in the public eye, I feel like you should be able to call me out publicly, because at the same time, you know, you have your image to protect. So you can't necessarily damage your image, because a lot of times people think silence is being in agreement with something. So I feel like you're not going to dog the person out publicly, but you can at least be enough to say, all right, then you are wrong. Obviously, I'm not going to go into details why I think you're wrong, but I think I'm going to be able to say you are wrong. And I feel like that's just me, though, you know? Bambi says, I am the same way, Adrian. I do not like public humiliation and private sorry. And that is true, Bam, you know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mukbang says, but I understand totally when those things are handled publicly. Sometimes it has to be. You have to meet people where the error occurred. I totally get that. Yes, mukbang. I'm glad. All right, let me drop the link. Just put the 1 second, guys. The blue cover, yeah. All right. Wait a mukbang. InQ's World says facts. The food done say including me. Now that I'm a part of the family, Lava, yeah. Yes, the food done. Animal Lover said, I wouldn't want to embarrass them in public, but if it was on social media, I would privately message them while they were on. And I get that, Laura. I do get that. Coach Cherry says, yes, I'm here too. Mukbang things privately. Sometimes you need to help them figure out the why behind their behavior, words or action. Hey, Light Bright, welcome. How are you doing? Hey, Merk.
Hey, Adrian. Hey, everybody in the chat.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. So, yeah, I wanted to touch on that because I've been in that situation and I felt like I had too much to type because it's a lot of ways that situation can occur. Now, we talking about in friendship. Number one, you publicly humiliate me and you do something in a public arena. On a, let's say we're out at dinner with a group of friends or something like that. More than likely, I'm going to probably get you straight right then and there because at that moment, I'm fueled by emotion, right? But if it's a situation where I have time to think or something like that, I will correct you privately. But I do understand and I get it when people have to correct people publicly because sometimes you do have to meet people exactly where they are. Sometimes people will not stop doing this type of behavior to you until you approach them the same way that they approached you. And I'm not saying that it always has to be some great big fight or some animosity or something like that. Now, then I feel like it's a whole nother side of this where someone has not even done anything to you publicly, but you choose to do something to them publicly. So then what do? You go back toe to toe since they came at you in a public way when you didn't do anything to them publicly. So now it's like, okay, you did me, I did you. Now that I don't agree with. That one I don't agree. I
totally agree with you on that second point of view. Yeah, you can, not everything deserves, like they always say, don't fight fire with fire. So I feel like, not because someone, come and address something publicly, that means it deserves a response. But what I was necessarily talking about is like, let's say in a public situation, like especially here on YouTube, someone has said something that you don't necessarily agree with. The mass majority of people don't necessarily agree with it. And someone come for them within the chat and be like, you know what, Adrian, you shouldn't have said that. That was definitely out of line. I feel like you as a person in the chat who are close to me should be able to say to me, Adrian, you were wrong for that. But not, at the same time, you're not going to down me and be like, Adrian, you shouldn't have said that. You start going to a whole, like, spiraling out of control. Obviously, you're going to address me privately now and be like, Adrian, I didn't agree with that. I don't understand why you said it, and go into more detail. But I feel like you should be able to check me publicly because I said this publicly, because you don't want to sit silent within the chat, because now people are going to think you think the same way as I do. So it's like a situation like that I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I think it kind of depends on the type of relationship that you have with somebody. Yeah. Like they know, you know what I'm saying? They know that they can say something to you and it not be taken a certain kind of way. Or you can say something with love, like, all right, calm down, Adrian, you're doing a little bit too much now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I can later hit you in a DM or whatever and be like, well, the reason why I said this or that, I've done stuff like that. I have said, like, what, watch that. And then I've privately went to that person to say, I'm just not in agreement with that. And I wanted to let you know. And
Yeah.
once I say that and I get that out of my system, we're good because
Yeah.
I don't like to hold on to stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to hold on to stuff like that. And then hopefully, you as the person receiving it doesn't take it in a way that, okay, well, this person called me out on my BS, and
Mm-hmm.
now I got it out for them. No,
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah,
good.
absolutely not.
I'd rather for you to be honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't jump down my throat, you know, in
Yeah.
a public place when I'm already on one. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
kind pull me back gently and then step to me privately. That I can respect.
Absolutely. All right, let's jump into a few chats. Bambi said, "Open rebuke is better than secret love." That's Bible. Mr. Cotton says that's not always the best way to do things. Things can be handled privately, even if you have to pull them aside or call them. And we totally agree with that, Miss. Well, I totally agree. I think that's what Mukbang was saying. Sometimes you got to pull them aside and call them privately. But especially nowadays where we're living in, a lot of people think silence mean agreement. So sometimes you're not gonna go off the rail and be like, you know what, I'm jumping out, I'm getting out of this chat, I ain't talking to you because you said something that I don't agree with. But I feel like
Hmm.
you being like, especially now, especially a lot of us in this chat, we all move into what we classify as like a circle, which is not really a circle, but we all have love for each other, we all respect each other, we all support each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like people, maybe let's say a new person come in the chat and I say something out of line and Mukbang is on the panel right now. Mukbang didn't say, Adrian, well, I don't agree. She ain't gonna go off the rail and be like, Adrian, I don't agree, and then she's gonna start cussing me out. She's just gonna say, Adrian, I don't agree. And then later when I get off the live, then she'll shoot me a message and be like, Adrian, what you said was out of line, whatever, because she's sitting on the panel and didn't say nothing to what I said, which is offensive to someone else, can
Right.
leave a bad character on her too, because they're gonna be like, she sat on the panel, she heard him said this, she didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
So
And I
we
think
also got to be
things
mindful about those things.
we definitely have to be mindful. I think sometimes when we're on panel together and it's like, 3, 4, 5 of us, sometimes we forget that it's people openly in the chat talking with us. Like we be carrying on like we on the phone with each other, right?
Yeah.
So we get right comfortable in the things that we say, but we have to be mindful of the people that are around us. You don't want to offend anybody. People have different
Mm-hmm.
beliefs. People have different, religions, all kinds of stuff, So
Mm-hmm.
you just have to be mindful in the way that you present things. And sometimes I don't think that we always think. We just blurt out whatever
Yeah.
we're thinking because it's a very relaxed atmosphere. It's like we're talking with our friends or whatever. I may not say something in a live stream where it's 30 people that I might say to you in private. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything is
Absolutely.
about tact. Everything is about tact. You have to be filtered in certain kind of ways. You don't have to pretend to be something else, but everything needs to be handled with decency and order and tactfulness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So I see. Let's go back a little bit. Little bit. Ash says, I don't do public humiliation. I feel that if we have an issue, there's no reason why I can't speak to you respectfully privately. And I totally agree with that, Ashley. Sometimes, as Mukbang would say, someone who came out, say they're trying to get you back and all of those stuff. I feel like, that there's no need for that. It's
Yeah,
just,
that kind of thing, it can just go on and on and on and on. And at the end of the day, you start looking more crazy than the person that first did the offense. So that kind of thing, I'd be like, I'm not addressing that. Like I don't have time for that because it wasn't warranted in the first place. But people are people, they do
yeah.
what they do.
Hey,
So
Voclam, welcome.
I
Sorry,
think
Mo.
it's various degrees of the public
Mm-hmm.
versus the private thing. It's not just one
Absolutely.
sided. It's a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the situation and all
Mm-hmm.
of that. So that's all I wanted to say. It was too much to type.
Yeah. Ashley said, if someone were to humiliate me publicly, I would have serious doubts about our friendship from that point on because you have shown you have zero respect for me or our friendship. And that is true, that is
And
true. But
most times that's going to kill the friendship anyway.
absolutely.
You basically humiliated me. You sought out to humiliate me. So you know, that's usually gonna kill the friendship and, you know, right away or whatever, because why would you want a friend like that? Why would you want to have a friend that would do that's like a form of abuse to me. You
Yeah.
know, that's shaming and all of that. That borders on bullying, you
Yeah.
know. But then some people do, they get pushed to the point where they just can't, you know, they can't take it anymore. So they have to go ahead and speak their piece or whatever, you know. But I'm more from the church of, you know, silence is a gift, and I have
Mm-hmm.
strength in that. So I will be that way. I'll be that person.
Mm-hmm.
That's just who I genuinely am. And that's something that I had to work on for many, many years, because I was that person that will go back
Mm-hmm.
and forth with you and toe to toe with you and all that. But that type of behavior is very toxic,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I don't have time for that. But every now and then, though, I can go, you know, I can trickle back. I can trickle back now, you know.
Yeah.
So
But you know what's
don't.
funny though? You know what I took away from that, especially that So What challenge that you
Mhm.
created, was, you know, like me personally, I think a lot of people may pick up on that, because it's like Christine, Eat Cook and Live It Up, the other day they were having a conversation, and I was like, you know, this thing happened and I cried. She's like, you cried? She's like, you cry, Adria, you have such a tough exterior. And I'm like, you know,
You
people's
really
opinion,
do.
yeah, people opinion of me really doesn't phase me, because if I know who I am, so what you think I'm this way, I don't care, you
Right.
know. But certain things, like certain music will make me emotional, certain happy moments will make me emotional, but people's opinions, that's why I have that tough exterior, because like the opinions really doesn't phase me. So someone who sees me probably think, okay, Adrian, don't cry, you know. But the things that people think I would cry for, I don't cry for those things, because they really don't affect me, you know. I'll look at you and be
Right.
like, did they say that? Okay, I now I see who you are, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it doesn't phase me where I'm going to be sitting in the corner crying or worried about your opinions, because I know who I am at the core. So if you think otherwise, then obviously you don't know me. You get what I'm saying?
That's facts. You know, that's
Yeah.
facts. And I think I just feel like you're more of a reserved person, you know, but not reserved to the point where you're not approachable. You're very approachable.
Hmm.
It's always a really loving atmosphere. You know, I would never think that because you have a tough or hard exterior that means that you don't have a heart. I can see your heart. I can see your heart in the way that you cook your food and the way that you interact with everybody and all of that. But, you know, sometimes we do that. We prejudge people and we have a misconception about things and be like, oh, okay, I didn't think that, because people would think that things like that about me all the time just based on the way that I
Hmm.
look. But I'm
Yeah.
extremely emotional. I'm very sensitive, very, very emotional. But again, like you, some stuff I just don't care about.
Hmm.
And I really have a hard time of like putting on a different face. Like when something bothers me or affects me, it shows all on my face.
Oh, sure. That's me too. My mom can tell when I'm like. That's why it's like it's funny for me to come on here, and it's sometimes difficult, because I'm like, these perps will see this part of me, and they don't see this part. And if I show this part of me, then this person gonna think I'm this way and think opposite of me, because at the end of the day, we're only shooting a certain amount of time of video, so people don't really know you, the whole part of you. So if you show this side
Hmm.
today and you show a different side tomorrow, people are not gonna piece those two sides together. They're gonna just
Correct.
look at the part that you showed today versus the part you showed yesterday. So it's like it's kind of a tough thing. All right, Mr.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope it's Mr. D Cotton. Well, he's not connected yet. But yeah, so it is kind of hard for people to necessarily show their true selves on the internet, because you only have a limited amount of time to show who you are, and people are only going to judge you on the side that you showed today versus the side you showed tomorrow. So,
Hmm.
because you can never show the whole side of you. So I think people will get to know me on a different level, then they realize that it's not, you know, I may come off as a tough exterior and as someone who probably don't take BS, but I'm also a good listener. I can listen to people talk all day and don't have an opinion, but sometimes I do have an opinion if I don't necessarily agree, you know. So
Yeah, I can tell you're a good listener too, just from the type of topics that you that you choose in the live stream.
yeah, thank
So,
you,
and being a
Bam.
good listener is very important.
You know what, Chrissy? Chrissy said, no, he's not approachable. Chrissy, no, wait. I'm going to share this story now because she brought that up. So she was like, so she was like, the first time I commented on her video, I was like, Chrissy, I was like, where's the coconut milk in that dish? She was like, you came off so harsh that day. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, because it's like us, like you make vegan food. And if you make certain things certain way and it have maximum flavor in that way, and you go on someone's channel and you necessarily see that they miss a step, obviously you're going to say it looks good, it tastes good, but I would have done this differently in a sense, because you're trying to help them to better. Oh, sorry, D Cotton. You're trying to help them to kind of, get on a different level. But and even though she said that, I don't even remember the comment, but it was funny. She was like, no, he's not approachable. Because she said she thought I wasn't approachable in the beginning based on that comment. But then when she gets to know me now, then she realized that I'm approachable. So I just thought I would say.
Yes, see how that worked. And it's funny, I think. People might get that a lot from different people based on different things, just from some of the stuff that we say. But it's like, oh, I didn't mean it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you don't take, like, she took the time to actually get to know, so now she knows, that that's not the case.
Baby said, Adrian, admit you had a petty moment. Baby, I don't remember. That's what I'll say. If I remember it, I would be like, all right, I own it. But
not a petty moment.
All right, so the food done said, I truly believe that a true friend should always look out for another friend through thick and thin, doesn't matter up or down, and honesty goes a long way with each other. And that's exactly what Mukbang was explaining earlier. Yeah, we totally agree with that. You got to look out for each other, but at the same time, you got to be honest about certain things. She said, yes, baby, eat, cook, and live it up. Then the food done also said, but if you know your friends and you know what would offend your friend, then you wouldn't do it in public, but behind closed, or you will make sure that you check it. That way it doesn't keep happening. And that is true. You got to know the friend. Laura said, I have said, check your DM to people before. And that is real. That is real. That's why I don't think there's a wrong approach to it. I feel like a lot of people have the same consensus that if you do check someone in public based on something that you don't want people to think you're in agreement with, do it with love and don't go in, because when you go in, that's when it's really a different moment. Now you really be like, all right, can I really trust this person? Because they pretty much,
Fact.
Yeah. Then
and what else? Another area.
Yeah, go ahead.
That we can tap on that too. I've also had where I'm like, I might be doing a live stream or whatever, right? And I have somebody come into the live stream that totally throws me off because they talking about something that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But they're continuing to ask me questions, something that you can privately come to me about. And it has nothing to do with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you asking me about dance lessons or whatever, and you keep doing it over and over again, and I'm having a live stream about some other type of topic. Please don't do that. I will very kindly tell you, DM me, okay? And I tell you that the first time, and if you don't get it, then I'm gonna have to get a little bit raw with you. Because now
I feel that.
Because I'm trying to produce content, and you're actually throwing me off. So I don't know what it is, like, if people think that we just we're just up here just saying whatever, like, if it's an open discussion or whatever, and it's like, that's cool. But if it's topic driven, you see that we are all in this chat basically talking about the same thing, please don't come in and throw the content creator off like that by talking about something that has nothing to do with anything. And like I said, I will very kindly tell you, can you DM me? And then in the DM, I will kindly tell you, if you cannot, next time just DM me, not do that in my chat because it don't have nothing to do. Like I will do that. That's one thing about I will do that, and I do it very tactfully. I don't have to be nasty, rude, or anything. But sometimes you do have to teach people how to treat you. Sometimes.
Absolutely, and you're right about that. Sometimes because I feel like they always say nip the butt in whatever. I don't remember the saying, but it's like the first time someone do something that necessarily you're not in agreement with or it displeases you or anything like that, you gotta let them know at that first instance. Don't let it slide the first time. Obviously, you're gonna do it in love, but I feel like if you let that stuff slide the first time, then they're gonna think it can happen the second, a third, or fourth time. And when it becomes a habit, when it becomes a habit, that's when it's going to be hard. And it's going to be like, all right, this person changed because now this was acceptable the first time, but now it's not acceptable. So I do feel you on that.
Yeah, you got to nip it in the bud because people will try it over and over and over again. And sometimes, in people's defense, sometimes they don't know that they're doing something that's like out of line or out of order or whatever. So,
I missed her coming from Bambi earlier. Bambi was saying something about you got to do a YouTube etiquette, but now I'm reading the chat from my phone and up here. She's like, mods have to be appropriate too. Bambi, I know you're always talking about the mods, Bambi.
Bambi been threatening to do a YouTube etiquette video for I don't know how long.
Hey, Robert, sorry I missed you earlier. I thought I said hello. All right, so Ash says, if they do that, that's not your friend. It's all about approach. Approach me respectfully, and if you need to elaborate, we can talk later or send me a text.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why sometimes, when people first come in the chat, they don't really know. So I will periodically try to drop what the conversation is about if I'm active in the chat or whatever, just to keep things on topic.
Yeah. Bambi said the approach should always be love. Yeah, love, love, love. Coach Sherry says, also put in some time between the situation gives you and the other person an opportunity to reflect on what was done and said. What do you think about that, though, McBang? Time. Do you think time is, if you have I don't want to misread what you're saying, but say also put in some time between the situation gives you and the other person an opportunity to reflect on what has been done and said. So the question I would want to ask is that, do you think sometimes time or space between a situation happening and you kind of,
I think it's necessary.
You think time is necessary?
Sometimes I think it's necessary because when I'm fired up, give me my time, give me my space, especially if you trying to come at me and you're trying to rectify a situation or a disagreement that we had and it was like a big blown out thing or something like that. Give me my time. I need time. I need time to process this, because if I don't have time to process it, it may be more detrimental. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's addressed right then and there or whatever. And a lot of times, for me anyway, I find out that after some time has moved, whether it be a day or 2 or 3 or whatever, I'm not as heated or fired up about it as I was the day that it occurred.
Yeah.
So I can think more clearly. I can think more rationally. I think sometimes when you approach things right then and there head on, it's purely emotional driven. So you might say anything. You might, if you catch me when I'm in my emotions, you might get anything out of me. So sometimes I do need that. I need that time. I need that space. Like, and when somebody asks for that, give it to them,
True.
Some things need to be approached head on right then and there. But sometimes I definitely agree with Coach Sherry. Time. Yeah. Time and space.
Wait, wrong thing. Robert was saying that time is expensive, but it's also good. What's your thought, McMahon? Do you think time is necessary, expensive, but good at the same time? Because I think what you were saying about expensive, meaning like time just gives you, I don't know, it's like it leaves a disconnect in a sense.
Yeah. Now, I don't think it should be so much time that goes by where it's never addressed, because some
Mm-hmm.
things, you definitely have to rectify them. And if you don't, that's where you get the potential of these type of things, happening again.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you take time, okay, take time, but that don't mean you take so much time that now you forgot about the whole thing. And now we let this time go by and we're never going to address it.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, because the same that the basically I feel like this about it. If you have some animosity towards somebody about a certain situation and you never address it, and then the era happens again or whatever, something happens between you guys again that can be totally different.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go back to that first time because
Yeah.
we never got it out. So now I'm just working on a build up.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's almost like, say for instance, a husband and wife, one of them cheats on the other, and then they
Mm-hmm.
go back and they forgive each other, and you don't really fix anything or work on anything, you just stay together, and then it happens again. You're going to be even more hurt because you're still dealing with the past hurt that you never addressed. Am I making sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel that.
Okay, yeah. So don't, I don't think you need to take so much time that
Mm-hmm.
you just either forget about addressing it or never
Mm-hmm.
address things at all. And,
Yeah.
and again, we know there are some things that don't need to be said, some things that don't need to be rectified. But if we're talking about friendship and we're talking about relationships in general where somebody does somebody wrong or whatever, we need to work it out.
Yeah. Bambi said, yes, rectification is necessary, be it good or bad. An address needs to happen. And that's true, Ben. All right. So I think Ashley would say you can be honest with it, however, always do it respectfully with love. That can make or
Yeah.
break friendship or any relationship for that matter. Yeah. And Ben was saying the same thing earlier. Coach Sherry said, also just be mindful of what you give your energy to. And that is very important, Coach Sherry. I think we were talking about this in Zion's live the other night. Sometimes, not everything deserves your energy or deserves the time of the day or, certain things
Nope.
like that.
It doesn't. Not every, you have to be mindful of what it is that you give your energy to, and
Hmm.
what's important to you. Because some situations you really just don't care about,
Yeah.
or the
And then,
person for that matter. You might be like, okay, well, sometimes people be doing you a favor.
yeah.
Sometimes people be doing you a favor, and you be like, whew, I'm glad that's over, God. I ain't know how to get out of that. Sometimes
Yeah.
God is looking out for you. Sometimes God is looking out for you.
True. True, true, true. Ashley says, yes, Bam. Once they show their true colors, believe them. People that are okay with that don't change. That's true. Baby said, come on, bike muck. Coach Sherry says, Adrian, you have deep topics on your lives. Yeah. Coach Sherry, it's like these topics are relatable. There are always
Hmm.
things that I feel like are affecting us at one point in our life or the other, or about to affect us. So I feel like a lot of these topics that I normally choose is kind of, I would deal with it this way, but let's get the point of views of 10, 15, 20, 30 people's opinion. Maybe now I can make a better decision when the time comes. So I feel like with these topics, we all learn to better address certain situations because now we don't just have our opinions of how we would deal with it. We have the opinions of several other people. Do we take it?
Yeah, and
Maybe not. Maybe we will.
like you said when you first came on, it wasn't necessarily aimed at anybody particular. It's
Hmm.
just the topic that's coming up because and it may feel like that because it is a relatable topic. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But you want to have these type of conversations that are relatable. We've all been in friendships where people haven't been the best friends to us, or we haven't been the best friends to them, or we've had disagreements and
Hmm.
relationships, friendships, and all of that. So it is a very deep conversation, but extremely relatable. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm here for it. Anything that can enlighten and
Yeah.
expand my mind, and I can it can expand my mind. It can enlighten me, and I can also laugh and giggle about it too, and maybe sometimes have a different way
Yeah.
of thinking. You
Hmm.
know.
Absolutely. All right. So
Oh,
Ash
Laura
says
asked a
probably.
good question.
Okay, go ahead, Mug.
I was saying Laura asked a good question. She said, "What would you do if the person you try to talk to gets defensive all the time.
That so
Okay.
if I have someone who I try to talk to and they get defensive all the time, guess what? I ain't speaking no more. Cause I feel like I'm only gonna. It's like beating a dead horse, as they would say. So it's like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna really have a break? I don't even want to have a breakthrough, but how?
Uh-oh, what happened? Adrian frozen? Can y'all hear me? Or am I frozen too? Oh wow. Adrian, can you I don't know if Adrian can hear. Can you X out of the stream yard? Not X out, but you know what I'm saying, leave the stage and then come back and see if that fixes you? Because you're frozen. Oh, okay. Okay. He said I'm frozen. Give me a minute. Okay. It's D on the Adrian show. It's D on the Adrian show. Hey y'all. Hey, woo woo. People over there. People in the back. Woo woo. Ah, what y'all talking about down here? Topics of reflection are always needed for growth, development, and change and evolve. This is a very good topic. Already done. Okay, y'all hear me? I'm just not gonna say nothing else and keep my peace. That's how I am too. I'm not gonna keep giving you stuff if you're not open to receive it. It's like at that point, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. And a person who always gets on the defense, they're not listening or hearing you anyway, because the only thing that they're hearing is their own voice in their own head saying, I'm right, woe is me, and all of that. Okay, Adrian, no problem. Yeah, it's like a total waste of time to talk to somebody who's always on the defense. Like you'll do it a few times or whatever. You might even have this in your relationship, but I'm not gonna keep wasting my time if you're not open to receive what I got to give. And when you get defensive, then that's starting a whole new thing. Like sometimes that can start a whole breakdown right there. Just somebody getting defensive. But certain things I'm just not even gonna talk about. Like don't ask me my opinion. Then I made the right decision. Yeah, sometimes you have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just have to walk away, if somebody's always defensive. And they don't even have to agree with you, but being defensive is a whole nother thing. They will wear you out if you keep going in circles around. Right. I can't stand people who are always on the defense, especially if you ask me for my opinion. Right. Most of the time I just listen and I don't give my opinion. I try to listen. But if you ask me for my opinion on something, that's a whole other thing. But then if they always put blame on me, hmm, that's interesting. That's an interesting dynamic. I mean, without knowing too much of the situation, it seems like if you're talking, and then it's also about what you're saying to them. Is it for the betterment of them? You know what I'm saying? If you're telling them something that is not set out to hurt them or anything like that, just something that you recognize. People do take offense. I feel that those who are always on the defense have serious accountability issues. Yes, they will never admit that they are wrong. They want everyone else to always be in the wrong. That is so true, Ash. I'm learning more and more to pray for wisdom, and you'll get it. You know who can really receive your thoughts no matter how long or short you've known them. I know. I know, Coach Sherry, and that's my constant. This person was talking about me to others and telling lies. Oh no, 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 no. See, they wrong on other areas. Laura, not just the defensive part. Adrian, you need to get rid of your Comcast. Growth comes from saying, I'm wrong. I apologize. I should have done better. Period. Okay. They always play the victim role too. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's why I said that whole woe is me thing. I can't with that. Now those types, I can't. I can't. Even if you keep telling me about your situations with other people, okay? And you keep telling me the same things over and over again, and it's always like, oh, why this, why that, why? Yes, the whole woe is me thing, I can't do it. Or make excuses for their behavior. Right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Monk and chat. I appreciate it.
No problem. Oh, you good now.
Yeah, this Wi-Fi be playing me sometime. She said, Adrian, you need to get rid of your Comcast. I live in the country, baby. This is Frontier Internet.
They are blood related, but merit related. Yeah, you did the right thing. Walk away. Definitely walk away, because that's not good. Yeah, so we were just talking about people who get on, become defensive when you tell them some things. And most people agreed that they would just walk away from the situation. And then we're talking about how people don't like to take responsibility and accountability for when they've done wrong. They play victim.
So my point in that, I'm not saying I don't like that, but I feel like sometimes people, hate to be wrong so much that they kind of put up that defense mechanism. If you say something, you'd be like, all right, you're wrong for this. Then they don't like to be wrong, so they don't even want to take accountability for it. I don't think it's necessarily like they don't know how to take accountability, but they mix up accountability and being wrong, being the same thing. And it's really not the same thing. You can be accountable for something that, you did, but it's not necessarily that it's wrong. It's just wrong in someone else's eyes. And they point out to you that, this hurt me or this was wrong. Then you should be able to take accountability for it. It's wrong in their eyes, but in your eyes, it's not really wrong, or it's not necessarily morally wrong. But the person who you're dealing with, it's wrong for them, because all of us have different morals. All of us have different values. All of us have different mindsets. So I think that's where a lot of us come into, thinking, all right, if I take accountability for this, that means I was wrong, And
you know what, Adrian? And everybody, I think, what I think that comes down to for a lot of people? Ego. I think it's their ego.
Yeah.
Won't let them think that they can't be wrong, or they're always right. And then if like you said, if you take accountability, then that means I'm wrong. But that's really ego.
Yeah.
Leading you in all of your thoughts and everything that you do. Like sometimes the ego got to be taken down a peg or two.
Facts upon fact.
You have to lead with yourself and push that ego down aside. Because we see it all the time with people. You can kind of tell that when that a person is saying and how they're moving, they're truly driven by their ego.
True. Because I feel like we as people, because it's like, let's say, it's a funny story, because me and my brother always have this conversation, because he's so set in his ways, where he's my older brother. We're like 3.5 years apart. He's so set in his ways that sometimes, me, my mom, my dad, sometimes we'll be like, you need to change these ways, because these ways are not approachable, or they're not good, or whatever. And he quite often says, you know, why are you pointing out my flaws? I'm not pointing out your flaws. I'm like, I want to learn. So go ahead and point them out. He's like, no, that's not the type of person who I am. And then he also go on to say, I'm happy with who I am. So I don't care to change what you all think is wrong with me because I'm not pointing out your flaws. And I'm like, honestly, it's like when people become comfortable in who they are and they don't care about what people say. Like, I'm the type of person, I'll take constructive criticism and I'll try and work on them. Not everything that someone says to you deserve you to change what you used to do. But I feel like if you have people who are respected in your life and stuff like that, and they say to you, you know what, I think you're moving down the wrong direction, then you should at least take it into consideration and don't say, I'm happy with who I am. So whatever you say don't even matter. You know?
Right.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, we take it as like a personal, attack, you know, but if several people are coming to you about the same things, you know, chances are that you might want to look at some of that, you know, take a look and see, okay, maybe this is not the best way for me to behave or things for me to do. But you're right. We get really, really comfortable in those behaviors, even the bad ones, even the ones that are not good. We get really, really comfortable in it. But that's, to me, that's taking a defense when you're like, oh, you're bringing up my flaws and you're basically like attacking me or whatever.
You know, but yeah, that's what he always says. I'm like, I said to him, I'm like, the things that I'm pointing out within you are not the things that I struggle with. So obviously, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but if you had something to say about things that I'm saying about you, then obviously you would have bring it up. But these things I'm pointing out to you didn't have nothing to do with me. I may have other flaws that you see within me, but it's not what I'm talking about, or it's not as important as the ones that I'm bringing up in you. So that's why, because I feel like we as people, we genuinely going to come with a defense. So if someone comes and point out flaws in us, we're going to be like, all right, then, so you shouldn't be judging me because I see this within you. Not necessarily trying to down them or anything, but I feel like at least trying to make yourself feel better. You're going to be like, who are you to come at me saying all these things about me when you struggle with some of the similar stuff or even deeper stuff than I struggle with? So I just look at it differently. I'm like, you know what? I'm done talking to you. I don't have no more conversations to have with you because you're happy with yourself. So that's okay. Be you. I feel like sometimes you have people in your life and it's like, if we weren't family, then I wouldn't deal with you if you were just a regular stranger on the road. I feel like I have a lot of family members like that where I'm like, shoot, if we weren't family, I would see you on the road and I would see you.
I feel that happens a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like it's really basically like blood, you know, love and blood, you know, that's all that connects us or whatever. Because, I question that. I question that with my friendships a lot. Because, you know, you can have friendships within your own family. And I do question that. Like if we weren't family, would we interact with each other? Would we be in each other's lives? And sometimes what I come up with is no. You know, I do it sometimes at work and things like that. You know, if we didn't work together, would we, you know, this and that? And the answer sometimes is no. So you have to be honest with yourself about those things, you know? It'd be like some people that are not in my family that I'd be like, I wish I could put you in my family. because
I know, right?
We're closer than family. They always say that, you know, blood is thicker than water, you know. But
so Bambi said, I stay away from them type of peoples. Robert says emotional common criticism doesn't have to be taken either. I don't think I understand, Mukbang. What do you understand you get from that? Emotional common criticism doesn't have to be taken either.
I don't really understand what Robert is saying.
You know what, Robert says salt is thicker than water too. Salt do dissolve in water. All right, Robert, can you explain emotional common criticism does not have to be taken either for us? Because I don't think I get it.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, like, right? That's a
So
good
she
one.
said, what about those people who never said anything to you before until they don't need you anymore? Then you find out they're always, oh, Lord.
That is a pet peeve of mine. Oh my God, that is a pet peeve of mine. And I'd be like, I just feel like you were just waiting for the
Ooh.
day to say all of this stuff.
Wow. That one is strong. Because
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people do that. It's like, so they have this saying in Jamaica. I think when I did the Shauna Mill challenge, Mama said it was like, if you don't mash ants back, you don't know what's in its belly, something like
Hmm.
that. So it's like, if you haven't made an error with them, then you never know what they always thought about you. You know, like they be
Yes.
smiling in your face every day, acting like everything is all dandy shandy, and then once you slip up one day and you do something that they don't agree with, then they're like, okay, how long I've been watching you, and you did this, that. They start reading out the whole diary. You're like, okay, so if I
Yes.
didn't
They've
do
been keeping
nothing
a
today.
book on you. They've been keeping a book on you. Never said a word. Yes.
You know
That
what?
is a big
You
pet
know
peeve of
what?
mine.
T, you a man. She said, kiss ass before you can kick it. T, go on.
Yeah, that's a big pet peeve of mine because I've had that happen. I've
Mm-hmm.
had that happen with people, and I'd be like, "Wow, tell me how you really feel." You could have
Yeah.
told me this all along. Why do you wait until something like this occurs, and now you bringing up all this old stuff? Sometimes it be stuff that you don't even remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, Miss Sugar said those were not your friends, and then Light Bright says, "I wish it was a friend, but it's family." That's even. Oh Lord. Yeah, that would be. I don't know how I would handle a situation like that.
Yeah, that's a hard one because they, like I said, for real, sometimes they be keeping a book on you, and they
Mm-hmm.
got a whole table of contents, and they can go to the day that you did this and that infraction, and they will pull it out on you.
Not that what's funny, but man said table of content, and that's true. That's real though.
Yeah. Yep, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that type of thing. It's like, nah,
Yeah, I don't think
don't.
I would even want that person close to me because I don't know how I would deal with you.
Yeah.
I, Moving forward, we could never even have a conversation because we can just have a conversation. Then now it's going to be a part of that book. It's not even something that we disagree on. It's just that that's
Oh,
just
family,
crazy.
family is real good for that one, like Bright. Family is really good for that one. One time, I'm gonna give y'all this little scenario. I have my mom had 5 sisters, so I had 5 aunts. So quite naturally, all that female woman hormone stuff, whatever. So I done seen them go through all of it, and um, we've had good relationships and bad relationships within, I would say, the aunt niece, realm or whatever. But one of my aunts, she is real good about always calling people out on their stuff, but you can't never tell her anything about her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she is goes beyond just your flaws. She say things that she shouldn't say, and she thinks it's okay, and but you can't say anything to her. So it was one time she was telling me something, and I said to her, I said, I'm still trying to process it. Let me work it out, and then I can give you an answer. But right now, I don't have an answer for you because I'm still processing it myself. And that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't good enough for her. So I finally went ahead and let her know, you know, you have a habit of telling people things, but nobody can tell you anything, and you don't like to listen. I said, I don't like when you do this or that, whatever the case may be. And some of the stuff is stuff that she would do herself, that
Mm-hmm.
she would try to call you out on or whatever. So I told her that, and I told her that in love.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an argument or anything, and she let me have it. She started talking. She started telling me stuff about my kids. She started saying how things
What?
that yeah, she started saying how things that she felt I could have did better as a mother. Oh, like she went deep. She went deep, and it was years stuff that she went deep on. And because of that one situation, that one conversation, I mean,
Mm-mm.
she's still my aunt and I love her, but I don't talk to her like that no more.
Shit, the
Because
love is gone. For me, the love is gone. You ain't gonna tell me how to parent my own damn child. First of all, you shouldn't even
yes,
speaking on it. If you saw something wrong, then you should be like, okay, niece, nephew, I think you
because
could do this better.
it was like throwing something up in,
Hmm.
like say for instance, you have a child that's a habitual nail biter or something, just anything,
Hmm.
right? And she said something like, "No wonder your child bite her fingernails. If you was my mother,
Hmm.
I would bite my fingernails too." Like she went deep with stuff like that.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? It was like with stuff like that, stuff that you should never say. So yeah, sis, aunt,
That
we
was
are
like putting
no
a
more.
stab wound and just spinning the knife or the sword. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and then she'll tell my other aunts, I don't know why Dee don't call me. Oh, you don't? I don't know why she don't return my calls. Oh, you don't?
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing like I let her say this stuff and I just internalized it. No, I let her say how, I mean, I let her, she said what she said, and I let her know how I felt. And I told her, I said, you don't have the right to say those things to me. You don't have the right to talk to me like that. And you're kicked out of my life. Goodbye. Yeah, because I decide what I will and won't allow in my life. You don't have the right to say those things to me. You don't have the right to talk down to me like that. You're trying to say things to hurt me because I called you out on something. That's the only reason. Because I called you out on something. Now you trying to say stuff to hurt me. You wrong. Adrian, you froze again? Uh-oh. Adrian froze again. You can leave. And come back if you want to. I'll hold it down if you need to reconnect and all that again. She said he frozen Jesus. All right, let me read some of y'all comments. Vibing with Kimmy in the bushes. Hey Kimmy, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'm handling it by Felicia. Oh, that was way far. Family is a word. I had a family member do the same thing. I won't talk to her anymore. Period. That's when you have to forgive them in your heart and move on. That's it for me, Ash. You can't deal with everyone, even family. Yep. Yeah, it was a lot, T. I hate family members like that, just toxic and have no filter. Right. Okay, no problem, Adrian. You can hear Sugar saying that. He frozen, Jesus. Yeah, but that's what I had to do. I did have to forgive her in my heart and move on because we can't, you know, what you did, it was too much. You went way deeper than you had to. And all I did was simply call you out on your stuff. I didn't hit below the belt or anything like that. I just said, you have a way of pushing. And if I tell you I need time, if I tell you that I'm processing it, if I tell you I haven't dealt with this yet, in order to be able to give you the answers that you're looking for, whatever, give me that time. But you always do that to people. Stop doing that. Like, let me have my space, let me have my time. And when I figure it out, I'm going to let you know. And she just went ham. She went ham. I have a family member attack me over a workout post. It was crazy. What? You mean like trying to body shame you? Because when I first went vegan, for some reason that made people really angry. Friends and family. It was weird. It was so weird. And they would always like try to come at me and say things like, Um, like I've always been very curvy, like curvy butt and all that stuff like that. And like I don't have the same curves I had when I was eating meat and stuff. And it's okay, that's fine. But they would try to shame me like that, like, your ass is flat as a pancake, you know, mm, all that ass you had before is gone now. Like they would try to body shame me because I was looking better, I guess. I don't know, better in their eyes because I looked good then. Nothing really changed. I didn't even really lose a lot of weight. I'm not as curvy as I used to be. She said a whole lot of crazy stuff. Said my husband wasn't my kid's father. Messed up thing is my kids saw the whole thing. Wait a minute. She put it on. She put it on the actual post, Laura. Messed up their relationship they had with them. Wow. Have the same fights with my Wi-Fi. Your big sister Muck is holding it down. Period. I am. I am. Family can be terrible. Thanks, y'all. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. And that happens sometimes. It affects not just that one person. Crazy stuff. She did it publicly. She is now blocked by everyone in my family. Wow. Wow. This is why I'm a loner and I'm okay with that. I don't blame you, Miss Sugar. I get in those moments too where, you know, I'm just more introverted and want to be by myself type of thing. But I do have some good relationships in my family, but I have some that need help and some that's not even worth working out. Like, I love you in my heart, I forgive you in my heart, but I can't have you in my life type of thing because you are toxic. Kids only have to see her a few times a year only because we live close. She brings over birthday cards. Wow, that's crazy. I have to take steps away from family too. Yeah, sometimes you have to. And for some reason, we feel like we have to tolerate and put up with certain things just because somebody is our family. No, and I've been guilty of that myself too. I've done that. I've allowed people to stay too long in my life and all of that just because they were my family. But the girl that I am today, honey, the chick that I am today, you got to go. Kick all the rocks. Oh, wow. That's deep, Laura. Family will do you worse than folks on the street. Yes. Yeah. I'll block them quick and won't think twice. My peace is important to me, and it should be. It should be. I had shared on my platform about a family member that I was really, really close to. We were like best friends. And she always had this bad behavior towards me at certain times. And then she would always do the whole I'm sorry thing. It's me. I got issues. And she would do this whole cry thing and all of that. And she would always she would do her thing, and it was bad, y'all. She would do her thing, and then, some time would go past, whether it was months or whatever, and she would wait until an opportunity happened in the family that's like a tragic situation or something like that. And she would come to me at those moments. She would call me in those moments when I'm already vulnerable because of this tragic situation. So now I'm listening to you. And then she would automatically go into the whole I'm so sorry. I should have never did this. I got issues. I love you, da da da, blah blah blah, whatever, whatever. and it just got to be so bad. Like, and I would share things with her that I was doing, like just I made the Dean's list or whatever. Like I can't share stuff like that with you. When I would share stuff like that with her, I realized that those were the times when she would attack me, and it became a pattern. It became a pattern. So whenever I was doing something good in life, or feeling accomplished about something, you know, of course you share your joys with the people that you care about. And since we were so close, we talked every day. We talked in the morning on the way to work. We talked on our lunch break. We talked at dinner time. We were together all the time, shopping, dancing, all that stuff. Like, she was really like my best friend. And that was how she carried it. So every time she would come with the attack. And I was like, this is a pattern here. So then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stop sharing stuff with her. That's how I rationalized it, like, because she can't handle this or whatever. So I tried to make it easy for her. Okay, I'm just not gonna share these things that I'm doing or whatever with her. But she would still hear about it from other family or stuff like that. And then she would get mad because I didn't share it with her. And then it would be another attack. And then when she would attack, it was always below the belt. Like, she would say some things to you that sting. You know what I'm saying? Like, she be going for the jugular. And then I finally was like, I can't do this no more. I cannot, I'm done with you. I am done with you. Welcome back, Adrian.
Thank you, Mook. The internet, they ain't trying to let me be great to get these hours, so we'll see how long it lasts me. But thank you for holding on. Thanks everybody in the chat for keeping the conversation going. I appreciate everybody.
My husband treats her like she is a stranger. That's terrible. That's terrible that they have that relationship because of how she is.
Yeah, I don't blame the husband, though. I'd be treating her like a stranger too. You don't
Yeah, I
respect the
don't blame him either.
relationship, then you got to go.
Had that one aunt or uncle that caused problems and then asked who or what stuff. Right. Yes, vibing with Kimmy. That is so true.
Mhm. Yeah, that's crazy.
People really have time. After hearing everybody's stories and knowing mine, I'm a firm believer that people do say things that they do mean when they are mad. Yeah, if you lash out that bad when you're mad, you meant it. I agree. It got to the point.
100%, Mukbang?
Not 100% because I think sometimes people just run on emotion.
Okay. Yeah. Because I feel like sometimes people go for the juggler because they know this is what's going to hurt you. I don't agree with it, but I feel like sometimes people, that's why it was important when we spoke about earlier where we're saying, sometimes we need a little time to breathe and think about what we're going to say, because it's like, they always say hurt people. And it's like, in that point in time, it's like, okay, they probably feel in some type of way and they're going to say whatever they think can get deep into your soul that really going to affect you mentally and, everything. So, but I do get where Miss Sugar saying, sometimes people say things that they do mean it. Without that situation happening, you probably would never hear that side of their story. But
right. Yeah, and I don't care how bad it gets. Some stuff I'm not going to say. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to do. I'm not going to try to hurt you or affect you in that way. But I do know that I have been, face to face with somebody and something heated or whatever, whether it was, the father of my kids or whatever. And I said something that I knew I intentionally said something that I knew was going to hurt you.
Yeah. Like I got to the point. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's not good, but I'm just being truthful. I've done that too, and in my past, but I try very hard not to be that type of person because I'm always intentional in what I say. Even if it's something that you don't agree with or whatever, if I say it to you, I'm saying it to you with love, and I'm very purposeful and intentional in the things that I say. I'm hoping that you will grab onto it and whatever. So, Adrian, the internet is not trying to let you be great. It's just not. You froze again, and that was quick. Is it your internet or is it the StreamYard? Because I've been seeing some people have some similar issues. Ooh, girl, how much bleach you use? You about to knock me out. Jesus. Ooh. Oh, sorry, y'all. My daughter is washing something. It sounds like she used a whole thing of bleach. I guess once I get back on, I still have to cut it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I guess once I get back on, I still have to cut
Shoot.
it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I just reloaded it and then it came back up. So I don't know. I could try and get 2 hours and a half, but I don't know if it's going to take me there. Let's see. If it goes out again, then I guess I'll just cut it.
Yeah, well, you at your 2 hours now, so that's good. You should be able to get another 25 minutes in.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. So I think, like I was saying, it got.
Uh-oh. Again? Oh, no. Miss Sugar said, Lord, there we go again. Yeah, that was quick. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Sometimes StreamYard be acting like that. Sometimes I be on, people's things and they be having issues like that with StreamYard. It's not always the internet things, and they be having issues like that with StreamYard. Okay, we back again.
Shoot.
Unfreeze them, Jesus.
All right, guys. I think I'm just gonna cut it. Thank you, Mukbang.
You're welcome.
Again, I appreciate you for coming up and hanging with me and keep the conversation going. Thanks to everyone in the chat for being here. Hopefully next week it will be better.
Yeah, this was a good talk. It was a very good talk. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. On Tuesday, I'll be live doing the playlist with Jill and Eat, Cook, and Live It Up and Eat Spicy with Tea. So I'll schedule that. It's going to be Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you all for being here. I don't know if anybody else want to go live. We can come over there because there are 16 people in the house. So anybody want to hit the button? Thank you, Ash. Love you to Miss Sugar. I love everybody in the chat. Miss Sugar said, unfreeze him, Jesus. Good night, Mama Dell. Thank you, Mukbang, for holding it down throughout all these struggles. Robert, Silas, Sonia, everybody. You all have a wonderful night. Christine, Jill, T, Laura. Good night, everyone. Silas. Thank you, Bam. I know, right? But man, Robert is hilarious. Social distance, internet. All right, so nobody says they're going live. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Mook. Thank you, Bam, Silas, Christine, Mama Dell, Ashley, Miss Sugar, Robert, everybody in the chat. Love you all. I'll see you all on Tuesday or before then. I post a video on Monday. Maybe tomorrow I might drop a video too. I don't know. We just trying to get these hours, but StreamYard ain't letting me be great. The internet ain't letting me be great. So love you all, and you all have a wonderful night.